Hi friends. In our time together today, I'm introducing the Clergy's Lamentation. Many say by Turlough O'Carolan. We'll follow our usual pattern. I'll walk us through the tune, each part, playing each phrase slowly with a pause between each phrase, standing so you could see my hands and really get a sense of the flow of the notes on the tune. After that, I'll play through the entire tune, including the repeats, without any pauses to give you a real flow from the beginning to the end, and without any ornamentation or expression in that part. After this, we'll talk about potential difficulties, ornamentation and expression, and a bit of the history of the tune. And at the top of the notes to this video, I'll provide a link to the page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs for this beautiful tune if you'd like to do that. Now I want to talk about the transcription of the tune for just a moment. The tune was not written for the whistle, and so it actually goes, no matter how you transcribe it, the tune's going to either be too low or too high, and you really want to play it as that lower, more thoughtful, moody tune. And so instead of just jumping the notes an octave, you can change things off. So the tune starts off below the D, and so it starts actually on the below the low D. It goes B, A, B, and then up to the D. So if you start off with a similar three notes that if you start off with the E, E, D, E, it keeps that mood. And then of that lower somber feel. And then as you get in a little later in the tune, one more time, that sequence appears of the B-A-B. You can just take it up an octave and keep that feel there. And so that works out okay. And at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about a recording I'd dearly love for you to check out of the tune that's played on harp and the whistle. And we'll talk about that closer to the end, but it's absolutely beautiful. So I like the setting of the tune, and you'll see some settings that are without repeats, but the oldest renditions of the tune do include a repeat, as do like the ITMA recording includes the repeat as well. So I opted to go with the repeat, which what you find in the earliest versions of the tune. So here is the A part. I'll just play a phrase and pause, phrase and pause. All right, that's the A part. Now I'll play through the B part. That is the entire tune. So now in the Play Along with Scott section, I'll just play through the entire tune, including repeats, without ornamentation. All right. Such a beautiful, kind of haunting tune. Just played straight through at a normal pace, not moving off of the tune, not ornamenting, not venturing into any expression. It's just absolutely heartfelt. I love that about this tune. It's so it's so good and beautiful. Let's think, though, about possible difficulties you're going to experience as you learn this tune. Well, as far as difficulties, I think one difficulty is learning to emote a tune like a lament is a different skill, and you'll have to work on that level of expression. There's a little bit to the flow of the tune. And again, this is actually more of an air. So a challenge is feeling tied to the flow when you need to be able to change your expression up just a little bit. Some of the way some of the notes are held. But that I think the biggest challenge is to work on expression. None of the notes are too crazy. You do have to play up to the second octave A, but you walk to it, and that's very helpful. So from an ornamentation and expression standpoint, I have heard, and again, like I said, I'm going to link a version that is kind of like my favorite, because I listen to a lot of versions of these tunes, and I just think it's beautiful and emotive and beautifully ornamented and expressed from the person playing the whistle. And so add in, do some volume changes, do some rhythm changes. So you could sit on it. Where does the tune feel thoughtful to you? So a little vibrato, some slides to notes. Please don't hesitate to use some cuts and taps even in it, because I think the tune lends itself, depending upon the way the note transitions feel. Listen to the video. In a couple of days, I'm going to play it through. And at the moment, my attempt is going to be to do what I can to come close to what the gentleman does on his Swain high D in the in the video. So anyway, let's think a bit through the history of the tune. It is basically said that this lament is by Turlough O'Carolan, who lived from 1670 to 1738. And the very first in-print versions of this tune come out in 1724. And so it's a very old tune. And I wish there was some, because there's a story behind it. There has to be a story behind a tune this emotional, and it's called the Clergy's Lamentation, the Clergy Lamentation. You just know there's a story being told here, and I so wish we had that, but apparently we don't. So if O'Carolan wrote it, this traveling, blind, gifted harpist who would compose tunes particularly for the people with whom he stayed, and he would perform different places he traveled, and just so deeply loved. And so this would have originally most likely been a harp tune, which accounts for the fact that it was written beyond the range of a whistle, which is funny. So as a lamentation, please just find a way to pour your heart into your whistle. A little bit I wanted to tell you on that recording. I'm going to stick a link. Well, first I played with my Howard Low D and the balanced head. I'll put a link to where you could pick up a Howard if you love. You just, after the tone, you just can't help yourself. I want to buy one. No, I do love the Howard. So there was an ITMA recording that is apparently hours of performances, and they narrowed it down to just an hour, so you can listen to the whole tune. But and I'll put all this in the notes, at the 41-minute 53-second mark is where the Clergy's Lamentation begins. And it just starts off with this lovely harp playing it through, and then the whistler chimes in on the second time through, and it's very moving. It's lovely. And again, it's a Swain high D, which I think is a gorgeous high D whistle, very expressive, very clear, pure tone, but also with some mellowness to it. So it's lovely. Yeah, I should play it on the Swain myself, but then I might just be embarrassing myself. We'll see. We'll see what I want to do when the time comes to play it through. My friends, please love this tune. So I'm actually introducing it because some of our friends have asked that we go through it. And that's why we're diving in, because people in our community have said, here's a beautiful tune for us to learn. And I agree, it's amazing. It really is. And I know you're going to love playing it. And I know your playing will improve because you've learned this tune and had to go through that process of learning to play more emotively. Anyway, if you're brand new and just checking us out because of the tune, please subscribe. If you've enjoyed this walkthrough, please like the video. All that helps YouTube promote our community, and it helps bring more folks into the community, which I am so appreciative of. And until next time, my friends, this is God's Shade. Happy whistling.